Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to check this out. Right, so what I'm going to do today is share with everyone out there a way to get around the limitations of the ramp behavior, pretty much. When you're going to use that to rig shape layers to other layers, whatever you want to do. So I saw a new tutorial today that was, a new tutorial, but it's actually the same tutorial that I've seen over and over again, with all the years I've been using Motion. It was for an infographic. It's just this, really. It's a very basic build. We have a shape layer that is rigged to sync the animation and time with a numeric value. And if you see from the highest end infographic products to your basic template, this is kind of at the core of it. What I see though, and not just in this tutorial, in a lot of the products out there, is a lack of speed control. Okay, so it might be debatable whether your product or your work requires speed control. My opinion, and in the work that I do, I'm like, if you can do it, why not? So just in this example, we've got our infographic. Everything's there, everything works, but right now I've got it set to decelerate. I've got constant on there. And we've got ease out. And we've got ease both. Now everything works with the rig. We're not sacrificing anything here. Okay, now in this example, I've added duration controls as well. So we can have all of the speed settings, but in this case we can also have with the speed at minimum there 3 seconds, and at max, the fastest, it will take 1 second, and everything works together. Alright, so first of all, let's jump in and have a look at the issues with ramp. I think generally there's just an over dependence on ramp, and perhaps an absence of information about other solutions, and that's what I want to try and fill that gap for you today. Alright. Okay, so I'm here in a project file. I've got the basic ramp build set up, and as you can see, it works on all different shape layers. I've got a rectangle here with scale. I've got a couple of lines. I've got 3 lines with the offset, and generally this is the structure that we all know in the Motion community. We can use it for lots of things. We can use it to push sliders out in a graphic like that, but in this case, in this particular example, it was for an infographic. Okay, so the problem with ramp, I see out there, not just in online tutorials, but also in products, commercial products, plugins and the like, I see an absence of features, which I think comes from an over dependence on the ramp behavior. Ramp is great, but it's lacking. So this is the ramp behavior I'm using here. The good thing about ramp is it does give us the start and end offsets, so we can produce duration controls from this. Whether a plugin needs duration controls, that's a matter of project scope. Some editors like it, some editors don't, but I think a lot of products out there, a lot of plugins out there would really benefit from it, but it's not there. Speed controls. Take away duration controls, just being able to offer a variety of speed in your animations. We can't really do that in the ramp. We have we can do ease in and ease out at 50%. It's just really boring. Okay, so what we need is a solution, an alternative to ramp that is riggable in a way that can do all these animations, sync up with the numeric value, drive a shape layer, drive a title background, drive an effect, anything you want, but you can add your speed controls in there as well. Okay, so there are actually lots of alternatives in motion that you can use, and what I'm going to share with you today is one of those, and it is in here. It is the motion path behavior. Okay, so why the motion path? I mean, it's not a parameter behavior, but what it does have is publishable speed. Okay, so when you look at this, already we're thinking we've got motion path, sequence text, sequence replicator. There's another as well. So what we want to do is create a relationship between the motion path and shape layers in a way that's riggable, so that we can animate from the motion path, but publish the speed as well. The thing about motion path is you can't directly, there's not a lot in there that you can directly link to another shape layer. So what I want to show you is, well, what can you say? Really, just the way to bridge that gap between the links. So we're going to find a common parameter that the motion path can actually feed out to other shape layers. Alright, so let's have a look at that. Okay, so we're looking in the project file for the first example that I showed in Final Cut Pro. I'm not going to go through this step by step and show how to set it up. I just want to show you the principle of it. Okay, so here I am in the project file. This is the title template for the first example I showed in Final Cut Pro. Alright, I have this layer here selected, driver. It's this layer here, this vertical line, and you can see it's riding a motion path. This is the motion path source. I've called it value because this is the value this is the parameter we're going to rig to the slider. It's the scale of the shape layer. So at 0, it's 0, and the value path, the driver path, is going to be from 0 to 0. At 100, it's 100, so the driver path is going to move from 0 to 100. So this is the one I would publish for the value. And what this one is doing, I'm sure you figured out by now, is that, see the position, 0, and at the end of the path it's 100. This is the value that we can then feed through to the shape layer and the numeric. So I've got a link on the numbers to position X, and I've got a link on the circle to position X for the last point offset. Where are we? Okay, so you can see the last point offset is being driven from 0 to 100, and the numeric is being driven also from 0 to 100. Just a bit over. Okay, but that's not going to display. So you'll notice in the link, and I don't know the math behind it, but I've always found that this is the value you want when you are doing a positional feed like this. 38.52 should get you there. I don't know why, it's just what has always worked for me. Okay, so the idea here is that we're going to extract from the motion path behavior a value that is from 1 to 100 that we can publish, and then from there we get to exploit the speed control. So, oh, actually, shouldn't have done that. I've actually got these on a widget, and we want them on their own widget so that we don't have to publish the custom speed and natural, things that would confuse the end user. So just put it on a widget and choose which speeds you want. Okay, and that's that. And that is just one of the ways that you can take a behavior like motion path that you might not think you can normally link out and rig to another shape layer, but if you think of it just in terms of finding a value that you can extract and then feed out a value that is common, like position, then you can take it a lot further. Alright, thanks for taking the time to watch. I'll see you in the next one.